Before we're born, we get to meet with our personal angels. Some of our family members can also sit with us or our ancestors. And we actually get to map out what gifts would serve us best in this lifetime.
As most of you know, here on Seeking Center, we explore the unseen, the mystical, and the magical realms that exist beyond our five senses. Today, we have an extraordinary guest, one who walks between the worlds, bridging the divine and the earthly in ways few can imagine. Rachel Corpus is not just a spiritual teacher, medium, and channel. She is an actual angel in human form. Her journey has been nothing short of miraculous, shaped by near-death experiences, divine encounters, and a deep understanding of the multiverse, parallel realities, and our soul's purpose. Rachel is here to help all of us remember our divine nature, awaken our intuitive abilities, and deepen our connection with the source. Through her work as a conscious channel, she communicates with angels, ascended masters, and high vibrational beings to bring through messages of love, healing, and empowerment. And we can attest both the magic, meaning, and utility of her readings. Both Karen and I were blown away after our sessions with Rachel and have incorporated elements of our readings into our daily lives. Get ready to explore the angelic realm, the mysteries of the universe, and what it truly means to live in alignment with divine magic in your everyday life. Let's get going. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Hello.
We're so excited.
I am too. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to sit with you and make some magic.
Yes, of which you have and will continue, I'm sure, during this conversation that we have. Can we start with the first question about is this whole incredible journey that you've had and this realization that you are an angel in human form? I think looking at you, we can see that you're an angel in human form. But can you just talk about what that means to you and how you came to that understanding that was your role in this lifetime?
When I was 4 years old, my family was in a near fatal car accident, and I had a near-death experience. So before that, I certainly had psychic experiences, as many children do. I may have had more than the average, but when I had that car accident, I was taken to the other side. And I remember distinctly hearing a grown-up woman's voice and being very confused by that and thinking, who is this? Well, it was this voice that was happening, and there were other angels with me. I could recognize them because I was being raised Catholic at that time. And so what I know now is angels are able to present themselves to us in a way that makes sense to us. And so at that time, they look like biblical angels. And they said, now that you're with us for a little bit, we're going to take you to a very special place. And this is actually where you're from. You are like us. You are an angel. And they took me to the Seraphim realm. And I saw things like my locker, my desk, my shoes, where I lived, my dwelling place. And when I looked in the mirror, I had two versions of me. I had my 4-year-old self, and then standing holographic, I had my grown-up self, which looks like how I look now, but also there was an overlay of what a seraphim looks like, which is a wheel of eyes, which when an artist draws, that's scary, but it wasn't there. It was really beautiful. Almost, I don't know if you remember Lisa Frank, when you'd go to get school supplies, maybe like in the 80s, and it was just like really like holographic. And it was very much like that. Colors everywhere, glitter, gorgeous. So I was seeing my angel form, and my 4-year-old self was popping in there. And I remember saying things like, wait a minute, do people play here? And they were talking to me about, you can choose to stay here or you can choose to go back. And my response was, will I still be able to play house? Will I still be able to climb trees? What's it like here? And then I was also remembering what my life was like when I was there. It was like seeing everything for the first time, but also that juicy deja vu. I know this place. I know these smells. They told me what my specific angel mission was, because we all have specific missions. They laid that out for me. They also showed me what would be happening in the world and what would be happening in my specific life if I came back. That visit concluded not really by me making an actual choice, but my 4-year-old essence came back in, and I remembered how sad my mama would be if I didn't come back. And as soon as that realization came back, whoosh, I was back in my body. Yeah. So I really don't know how long I was there. The visit there felt, I would say, an hour, but I don't think I was out of my physical body that long, but that's how I know. And then I've had near-death experiences since then where I've gone back again. I've gone back in meditations and I've seen the same things. I've met with those guides that walked me around. They're actually my specific guardian angels. So my construction, what I'm made of, I'm pure. My origin, where I came from in the very beginning, my spark of life is from the angelic realm. And then I was asked if I wanted to work here and inhabit a human body. And I'm not the only one. There's many of us, just like people can be star seeds. Really, every human here is from someplace special. We just forget when we're born. We're here to remember who we are.
And I have a question. When you talk about being a seraphim, what is that specific type of angel?
Yeah, there are different types of angels. So there's cherubim, there's angels of dominion. They are the rule makers. There's angels of virtue. There are worker angels, and worker angels are often assigned to, if someone is creating a company or they're going off to college, if there's a major project, a worker angel will be assigned maybe temporarily. And of course, there are guardian angels. There are archangels as well. And in the angelic realm, it's not really looked at as one is higher than the other. They're just different categories, different types. And so I happen to be from the Seraphim. And the Seraphim, that's where the unborn babies are. And so I can always kind of know about the story of one's children, whether that's a miscarriage or an abortion or babies yet to come in or grandbabies. And also explains my teacher heart and how I spent a lot of time creating curriculum for young kids and writing music and things like that. And it feels like a different lifetime, but it was this body. I used to work with Polk County Child Abuse Association and just prevention, things like that. It makes sense because I'm from that realm where all the wisdom is given and received from the babies. If they decide not to be born, they come back and they still have all this wisdom from that journey. Even though it's not a lot of time here, they sure do gain a lot from being with their family and coming back, and they're always uploading that information. So that's the Seraphim realm. Other things happen there too, but that's the big one.
Can I just ask, so my Catholic background, right, and angel experience, my understanding always was that angels never did have an earth body or an earth lifetime. Can you explain, like, is this a new thing where now angels are making that choice to come and be here in an earth body for a longer period of time versus swooping in to save you from the car accident or some of the other things that you were talking about before?
Yeah. Angels have not been human. Like, they don't have the same human spirit, but they can have incarnations. Just like Archangel Metatron, he's the only archangel that has had a human experience. But I say this with great honor and gentleness. There are a lot of things about religion that are written by man and are not understood. And that might be one of them, that angels have not had incarnations, because I know for a fact, one of the reasons why some of us, and it's not all angels, but why some of us are sent to planets to work, to have missions, is because if we didn't, how would we help? We would be helping conceptually only. But if I didn't have a life where I went through, I've had so much joy and peace, but if I hadn't gone through all the trauma I've been through, how could I help? There's no way. And so I know that's a big piece of it. And also, we need boots on the ground, because just like everybody else, we're source with skin on. We get to help right next to someone. We get to help breathe God's life into people. And that's not always a big thing. Sometimes it's just sitting next to someone and saying, I see you. I'm just going to be present with you. Angel work, it sounds amazing. Sometimes it is. Most of the time, it's just being a person and showing up for someone. It can be quite rare that we're there to save a life, or that saving a life is just having the presence of mind to just stay there or just say the word that you need to say, or not be a jerk.
Totally.
There are also earth angels that are hybrids, where they have one parent that is a human and one parent that is an angel. And that has happened throughout history. So if you go to the Bible, right before the flood of Noah, there was a population of angels that were sent to look over the humans, and they fell in love. And so a hybrid of angel humans were born. They were giants. They just created this super culture of humans that had abilities. They were really tall. They had body aches because they were so big. They were getting used to their bodies. But then the Bible, for instance, says that the angels that were sent to watch after their children were fallen angels. But that's not true. They were rehomed because honestly, God, source, loves us so much. There's no way God would ever say, you need to go away now. You're fallen. I cast you out. And it's not true. But it's been marketed in so long in religion that they're fallen angels. And we as a people, we are taught to respect authority figures and not question that we've gone along with it. But there really are no fallen angels. They're just here to look after their grandchildren and great grandchildren who are earth angels. So there's lots of earth angels, hybrids, just like there's hybrid star seeds. It's quite amazing.
I love this conversation
I
so
did
much.
too. Okay, so just one follow up to that. All of these angels are hybrid angels. They don't necessarily know, like you do, that they are angels, correct?
People are starting to wake up to it. The hybrid angels, they're not really giants anymore either. By this time, they have different traits, which are being highly sensitive. They can not handle processed foods. They know things because they know. Anyone could probably look up the indicators of being an earth angel and would line up with them. And if they're hearing this, their ears might be ringing or their heart might be feeling like a warm coziness that, oh, that sounds like me. If it sounds like you and you really feel that, God wouldn't put that in your heart if it wasn't for you. So follow that. But yeah, there's so many of us.
And I think you bring up a really good point too, Karen, and Rachel, you as well with religion. Angels don't necessarily mean religion. And I think that's important to point out to people.
That is a great point because angels don't reflect religion. They reflect love. Religion's made by man and angels, and actually, dare I say, God isn't part of religion. God is way bigger than religion. Even heaven isn't part of religion. The Hebrew translation of heaven is expansion of mind. So angels help us get there. When I meet with people's guardian angels, I always try to remember to tell people that your angels meet you where you are. They match your belief system. So if you resonate as religious, so do they. If you're seeking, they are helping you seek. If you are an atheist, they are too. They're going to help you. They're going to support you in whatever you believe.
I love that.
I'm glad we pointed that out early in this conversation because I think we all identify as something different in this life, and this is for everyone. Angels are for everyone.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up.
I also wanted to bring up too, we've had conversations on Seeking Center before about near-death experiences and how you could be 4 years old and remember the level of specificity and detail that you do. It's just remarkable. That is something that has stayed with you. And you've said you've had other experiences. And I imagine that you will, just as when you were 4, remember to that kind of level of specificity and detail.
Yeah, I've really tried to reason with that because I don't have a ton of childhood memories, but that near-death experience is full of detail. And what I've heard coming back from my guides is that I was more in my angel consciousness. And so because I was experiencing the near-death experience in that consciousness, I'm pulling from that memory or that data. And also I was in a space that's absent of time. So I can go back there almost like I've just hit pause on a movie and I can unpause it and go back. It's just like that concept. And I love that because at any time I can just close my eyes and I'm right there again. But it's really functions different than a memory. It's a live space. So the only thing that doesn't change there, which tickles me to death, is nobody touches my stuff. It's just waiting there. And I think, what other workspace would that happen? I'm so glad.
Wow.
It reminds you that you have a job to do. It's an official job with an office and not a cubicle necessarily, but like a place that is yours.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah, just go along with that mission and that purpose. So I would say this is part of your mission purpose, is to be this angel in human form, wouldn't you say? And then how can others align more deeply with their own purpose or get in touch with their purpose and their job for being here?
I've thought a lot about that. And here's something that I'm working on that I would encourage other people to think about. I've come to a point where I'm learning as an angel, and anyone can and should do this because this aligns with our shared purpose. All of us come from a different place, and it's a miraculous, wonderful place, whether we are angelic or we're from a different planet. And whether where you come from or not, it's an expanded place. It's, dare I say, better than Earth, because this is our classroom. We come here to learn. Sometimes we learn through play, sometimes we learn through trauma, but we're always learning. If you could think about having one real existence, which is your origin place, and that there's a part of you there that's floating, you're in a float tank and everything is fine all the time, more than fine, you're abundant, you're perfect, and that's the real you. And that there is another part of you that you feel like you're more aware of, this version of you that's listening right now, and you're here in this earth space, but that's actually like the dream. You're here bumping into things, trial and error. It feels really real, especially when you're trying to fill your bank account, your back hurts, etc. But if you could rely more on and believe more that you are actually that spirit self in complete perfection and abundance, and remind yourself, oh, right now, I'm just playing. I am just that version of me that's here to learn trial and error. But in reality, I'm fine because the God part of me, my God self, is always sending me everything I need. And if we could start to shift that reality, because it is real, it is true, we could start to alchemize or transmute the fear that we've created. Fear is a belief system. We really have. Fear is so palpable. We believe it more than any religious system, any spiritual system. It's like Zeus to us. It's like Mount Olympus and Zeus. And it's become almost like it has a personality. So if we could squash that guy and say, look, you're not real. The real part of my life is that I'm pure spirit and I'm existing in a greater plane. And I just chose this 60, 70, 80, 100 years to learn here. Everything could change. That's what I've been working on. And it's freaking fabulous and
I
fun.
get chills up and down my body.
For some, I'm sure this sounds like so profound. And yet, I think with all the conversations that we continue to have, that becomes the truth. Like it really is. And what you were saying about fear, I was talking to somebody the other day who said they were talking about their life and all the things that were going wrong. And I was trying to intervene and say, yeah, but you can look at it this way. They're like, no, but it's true. What I'm saying is true. And it just caught me that day that your fear has become your truth. I want to listen to that response again, Rachel, a bunch of times over, because it made me feel so good and it resonated with such truth. Wow.
Yeah, it's a choice to go back to what we believe is true, which is that we're from source in this body. And I love that what you said, I'm just playing, I'm fine. If you can really say that to yourself as many times a day as you need to, so that you can shift your reality, which then ends up shifting so much else, right? Then we can overcome this fear, which I'm sure is part of why we come here, is to have the experience of overcoming that, of choosing this other reality that is the truth of who we are, is that we are that source energy. We are love, right? And it sounds so woo-ish, and we are having this conversation to help those, and even ourselves who get caught up in the fear.
Yes. I think the main objective from people is, okay, I get that, but I still need new tires on my car, or my husband is still mean to me. Okay, what do you want to do with that? Or what can you do with that? If we're going to stay in this frame of mind where you are perfect and you're playing here, then when you reach an obstacle, you interact with the obstacle, but you don't participate with it as much emotionally. You just say, I see you. Okay. Oh, there you are. There you go again. Instead of, Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because then you're participating with the energy and you are taking from your spirit self, you're ignoring that and you are just totally here. This is your whole existence. If you can separate from that, then you are still in play mode. Maybe your play becomes a little R-rated, a little dramatic, but you're still spirit and your spirit is in alignment. So you start to look at your obstacles in a way that, okay, I'm going to neutralize you. I'm going to be an adult and I'm going to figure out how to do this, fix this to the best of my ability. I'm not going to be passive. But as I do this, I'm going to change my fear response to, okay, I see you. Okay, there you go again. There I go again. I'm all right. And then I also want to add, this isn't the same as bypassing one's feelings. You get to feel as you do it. We don't want to get into irresponsible spirituality. This is allowing yourself to feel what you feel. Because when I say we're here to play, I really mean we're here to feel everything. Take advantage of the journey, feel stuff. Because if you don't, your body will keep track. So feel it, move through it. That's it. Archangel Gabriel says, tell them you get to move through it.
That is really important. And I'm glad you clarified the play too. Feeling is so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gabriel.
One of the things that you gave to me in the reading, I was change the code, was one of the things that you said to me, which I didn't quite get at first, but now I do. It is change the frequency, change your reaction to it. Don't allow it to have the power over you. And I love this idea too of the playing of it, because that is the experience of going with the emotion, feeling through the emotion, not being locked into it at all times. And that's where the opportunity for getting your frequency above that lies. I love how you clarified. These are the things that we have come to go through, but it's like a tool that you can use. It's so helpful.
Doesn't that feel good to have a tool that you can use? I love that. I love actionable items and tools that you can use, and they're simple and they're sustainable because they're simple. I don't think a time where we need 24 steps to manifest anymore. It's just, let's just do it. We're ready.
Yes, we are.
Which speaks to this idea of everybody having the ability to access that. So when we talk about intuitive gifts, can we clarify that? What do we mean for those listening? That everybody has this ability to, as you said, manifest or even commune with spirit, angels.
Everyone is born fully gifted, and that gifting can look different for everyone, but we come fully equipped. Before we're born, we get to meet with our personal angels. Some of our family members can also sit with us, or our ancestors. And we actually get to map out what gifts would serve us best in this lifetime. So for some, that could be a certain clair over another. It could be claircognizance, knowing, because for some, it could be that's claireloquence, speaking well, channeling. What I've been told by the rest of the angels is that our gifting is starting to pour out of us in a different way, because we are finding the balance between respecting authority and questioning authority. Because we've had so many incarnations where our spiritual gifts have not been honored. And we have been told various things, like shown before the Industrial Revolution. I'm being shown points in history where metaphysics was honored, energy was honored, and someone was going to seek out a healing. They might go to a natural path. Kings would go to see their astronomers. We go to current day, and we're all the way to the other end where it's all science-based. That's wonderful. But we're seeing now that science and spirituality are coming back together, and we're seeing things like quantum physics being explained to people in a way that everyone can understand. That's coming through social media. It's waking everyone up, and we're seeing this at the decline of things like people not feeling fed as much at churches, or the school systems don't seem to match our kids as much. People are questioning the government. Why is that rule that way? I would like to know why. What does this mean? where is this coming from? And people are finding ways to do this where they're joining together so it's not just one voice. According to the angels, this is a big paradigm shift because we've all had these incarnations where we've come in gifted, but we've had family members say, that's scary, so we're going to keep you in the attic. Or the Salem witch trials, or it's been threatening or weird in some way, or society as a whole has said, we're not going to do that. We're going to go the way of science. But as that pendulum swings back, we're finding more of a balance between both ends. They're going to marry back together. As that happens, all of us here on earth, especially the kids who are being born, are remembering our divinity. We're remembering our gifts. That remembering is coming through. Watch what shows are coming out. If anyone has seen Wicked, we're getting that disclosure is fast. We're getting these nudges that, hey, come of age, wake up, it's you. Older movies that used to be just so magical, they're coming back so people can remember, oh, I watched that in the 80s. Oh, that hits different now. Music is encoded with different tones now, just like the days of Mozart. We're getting some of those chordal structures back in music to just wake us up. People are into hemiwave, binaural beats. The gateway process from the government has been released so we can do remote viewing. There's so much going on to wake us up. We're ready for all of that. It's the time. And it seems to be part of the fifth dimensional move into new earth. That's how we're getting there, or one of the ways we're getting there. It's fascinating to me.
I just wrote down 4 things I want to follow up on.
That's fascinating to us as well. All right, you go first, Karen.
For people listening who might be falling just a minute behind, who are still trying to understand, do I have any intuitive gifts at all? Like, I can't even think about myself being an angel, but how are some ways that you might suggest that someone listening could start taking a peek behind the curtain to see if they too have intuition and how they could tap into that a bit?
Everyone is intuitive. Give yourself a chance to notice what you know, just because go from there first. Your body sends you intuitive nudges all the time when you're hungry. Oftentimes that you haven't thought about someone for a long time and then they send you a text message. You're calling them in. The old word for this would be conjuring. You're connecting with them. When you think of someone on the other side, seemingly random, it's not. It's because you're feeling that loved one in the room with you. Your psychic system is feeling that. So I would notice those things first. If you have a craving, you're noticing your spirit self saying, all right, there's a healthier thing that you need to eat. Or if it's junk food, your spirit self is saying, you deserve some comfort right now. Notice those things that we don't always maybe talk about or recognize as intuitive nudges. And then from there, the advice I hear from spirit is simply open up YouTube and ask your angels, what would you like me to learn today? And see how other people are doing it. Is there an algorithm? Yes. Can your angels work through that algorithm? Yes. Angels love technology. So ask them, what matches me here? What can I learn? And then pay attention to your gut, because this is one where our intuitive brain, one of our brains lives. So your angels have their own personalities. So if they show you something that you don't personally like, just say, thanks. Show me something else. Pay attention to your gut. Build a relationship with your guides.
I think that's really important. Karen and I often talk when we're making certain decisions, even with our business and what we're doing. We do go to what feels good. Or we wake up in the morning and one of us will have a really inspired idea, whether that's to contact a specific person or something new that we want to try within Seeking Center, and trust that's coming from the divine. And it is intuitive. You gave such good examples. It is that feeling in your gut. Trust it. It really doesn't let you down.
And know that is what intuition feels like.
It feels like inspiration too, doesn't it? You'll get this, ooh, and inspiration always feels good.
Yes, it always feels good.
It's always
Yes.
that happy rush, which is a great way to follow that. What inspires you on the internet or wherever? It's a really good, simple tool. I love it.
It's those whispers that sometimes you can't explain. You're like, wait, why did I get that little message? However that it comes to you. But it's those little whispers. That's your intuition. That's what's telling you.
And for people who are wondering, that might not always come verbally. It's a knowing. It depends on your learning style. It also depends on the personality of your angels. So you get to talk to them and say, I would really like to hear from you in this way. The thing that really helped me when I was really upping my communication with I call them my holy team, because my grandma's in there. I've got some other people that I have on my team. I started to use the word, I would like to experience you. Because what I was doing is I was saying, I want to see you. I want to see you. And I was getting really frustrated that for some of them, I literally wanted to see them in the room like it was a movie. And I was having trouble with that. And then they said, you're expecting a lot from us. We can't always do that. That's like running a marathon. So the advice they gave me was switch, let me see you or hear you to, let me experience you, and then take out all your expectations, just sit with us. And that's where I began. And I realized that I was able to go back to where I was in childhood, where I wasn't expecting anything. I was just being me. And they were able to come in. And if I was just not really even paying attention, there they were, just experiencing, no expectations. So I would say that could help people too.
You mentioned that we plan our lives. When we're planning our lives, how do we choose certain life experiences? And how does that tie into different life experiences that we've had? So let's say we were reincarnating. What's your take on that?
And just to add to that too, Rachel, once an angel, always an angel?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, I will never change. I'll always be an angel. I can go to other planets. I can hang out, but yeah, I will always be. This is who I be. My outside can change, but yes, always an angel. When we're doing our pre-life planning, we have access because we're pure spirit at that time. We have access to all of our other lifetimes, a little bit of our future. So we're able to look at the summation of what we've learned, how we've contributed, and plan with our angels the best possible course of our life that would help us learn as much as we want or need to for this lifetime. We also get to sit with our soulmate group, which is about 20 to 25 soulmates, meet with them, even if they're already incarnated, because we can meet with their higher selves and have conversations with them about, here's what I could use from you. Will you play this role for me? People who have not been born yet, could you come in at this point and do this for me? I'll do this for you. So we decide what roles we're playing for each other as if we're actors in a big play. It's that play word again. And when all of that is done, we also start to create things about our body. So will we have any dietary issues? Will we have any learning issues? What's the purpose of that? We even get so detailed as, well, what is our bone density? What will we be interested in? Will we be right-handed or left-handed? We go into great detail. And if you're incarnated right now, you're among the minority. There are so many souls who want to incarnate. They're just lining up. You're also very brave because this is a hard place to be. And if you're incarnated right now, you can bet that you are piling on, I don't know what the number would be. Let me see if I can get it. At least 7 lifetimes into one, 7 lifetimes worth of experiences into one.
Why is that at this time?
Because the desire to learn is so great in all souls. And also the earth is changing so rapidly. Time is moving here so strangely that people are feeling like, gosh, is it January again? Is it February again? This feeling of time lapse, like lapping each other, lapping the years. And so when you're planning your life, you really get to benefit from that. So the people are having more of growth spurts, coming of age. And then honestly, there are a lot of people that incarnate that Dolores Cannon called them background people. There are people that incarnate that don't choose to grow that much. They are support. They are here just to eat, sleep, work, poop. They do it again. And their souls are just as deep and wise, but in this incarnation, they chose to not grow. They're in a different experience because they're not piling in a lot of lifetimes. They're just here to exist. They're, of course, capable of love, but they are really just here to help those who are moving toward new earth. They're here to be the control group. And everybody knows someone like that. About everyone has someone like that in their family or more. And they signed up to do that. They're the ones that help us grow. They're either really easy to live with or they're really difficult to live with. That's their purpose. When you know them on the other side, they're very dynamic. They're very wise, but their role here on earth is just to be the warm body.
I've heard that before, but I'd never heard it defined that way. Rachel, it freaked me out a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, because people make them sound like androids or some
Yeah.
AI or something, and that's not quite right. They're just as wise and old as everyone else. They're just playing a very specific role this time around.
Wow.
Well, and it's like, I think for some people that you may know and you question, like, either they don't get rattled by much and they very much just live a very structured, but maybe more simple life. And maybe somebody that is always striving for this or striving for that and feel your deep purpose and needing to fulfill that purpose and they don't. That kind of explains some of that to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I just ask a question too, Rachel, about you in your journey? I know you said you've had some of these near-death experiences. Was there a period of time where you weren't really thinking about any of this and maybe shut it down for a time because you were just living your life? And then if so, what was the thing that woke you up to remind yourself to remember your angelness?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there are a couple times, a couple seasons in my life where I didn't really resonate, religious or spiritual, to be honest. I just questioned a lot, which I'm really proud of looking back, but I just needed a break. It was just too much. It was just my dry season. And also I was tired of being strange. Yeah, I grew up in a small town. And so one of them was when I was still in school and I just didn't want to be different. And our angels really respect that. And I literally said, I don't want this right now. And immediately I could feel like shutters closing. And I missed it, but I really liked wearing the costume of just being a preteen. I really liked that. And then that kind of existence was just when I was at school, I was that way. And then when I went home, I could still see spirit. I remember that quite clearly. So it's a double life. Then the other time was when I was a school teacher. I was really good to people. And you could look at it like I was leading a spiritual life because I was so good to my students. But I was in a really dark place because I would say I was really limited with if I had a child that was hungry in my classroom, and I taught 5th through 12th grade at this time. I had a child that was hungry in my classroom. I couldn't feed them. Those things bothered me. And I was teaching in the town where I grew up, and I felt like I just couldn't really grow up. I was always a little girl, and I was like a big fish in a small pond there. And so that was hard to just be somebody different. It was very hard. And I went back to, all right, I'm just going to try to be normal here. And that didn't work because my psychic self, my angel self was just so bold. And what ended up happening was my youngest child, Felix, who's wonderful now, all healthy, he was 4 months old and in a kitchen fire. So we spent a month at the University of Iowa burn unit, and we thought we were going to lose him. And I went through a lot of weird steps with my family, like getting him baptized just in case he died. That was a weird thing because I thought, I don't think I need to do a ritual for him to be in God's family. And I just started to crack open with those things because the school I worked at, the day I got home with him, I had to go back because I'd used up all my leave. And I thought, this is weird. I don't feel like a person anymore. So at some point, I was in my classroom. It was just one of those moments where I said to God, if we're going to do this, let's just do it. I'm just tired. And I felt like I was decomposing. I really did. Like I was just breaking. And I felt the room just go clink. I was in this big classroom with risers on what was a music teacher, risers on one side, a stage, and all these mirrors. And I don't know if it was that or if it was the Holy Spirit or what, but it's like everything went whooshing back into my body. And then within a year, we moved to Des Moines, the big city, Des Moines, Iowa, but it was big to us. And I thought, what's the next reasonable thing? Oh, I'll go into ministry. No, but it was good for a while. Went to seminary, led some churches, worked in big churches, thought that would fit. But what was going on was I was still blossoming. I was still figuring out, okay, what's God's call in my life? Ultimately, it was not to work for anyone else. It wasn't. It was just to be brave. There was a time that when we moved to Des Moines, we sold everything we had to make that move. And there were times I only had 3 kids and a husband, 35 cents. And I was like, what are we going to do? And I said, okay, God, prove it. And God always did, always. So I'm telling you, when I say this stuff, I'm not talking about this from a mansion that I've already always had. I'm not. I really have walked this walk. I have put God to the test, which we can. I've done this stuff. I've worked myself from a blank page in a Dollar Tree notebook. I have come up with these things with my angel, and I'm in a human body. I have fear sometimes. I go through all of that, and I'm constantly working on it. But I just want people to know that this is real. We can do this. We can. But that's a little bit about my journey. It has not been easy. And there's other things in there. I've lost babies. There's a lot, but I'm grateful for it. I would do it all again in a heartbeat. It was so good. It is so good.
Thank you for sharing that. I think for people who are listening who might be just feeling like, oh my gosh, how can I ever get to a place like Rachel, or even within miles of where she is, to hear your story, that you're not just an angel in human form, you're a soul having a real life experience and going through all the things that all of us do. And you signed up for a lot too.
Yeah.
And you can feel that there's such resonance in your frequency and in your story and in your presence. I think that's really important. I think those listening right now can feel it. You can see it. If you watch this on YouTube, we can feel it in all of the times now we've talked to you or have had sessions with you. There's such a presence. And so thank you for choosing this road and for learning these lessons and for being and claiming who you really are, that angel in human form. We are just so grateful. And it gives us such hope.
Thank you for saying that.
Well,
I love my life.
I think it helps too, because your ability to help people is so transformative. And I think clearly your angel form comes through in the readings that you do. But the understanding that you're walking this walk like the rest of us makes everything that you give us even more rich and relevant to our lives. So thanks for sharing those stories.
Well, yeah.
And I want to bring up something that you've mentioned a couple of times, which is the new earth. And a new earth can mean different things to different people. I worked with Eckhart Tolle on taking his book, A New Earth, and translating that. And that was his version of a new earth. What do you think of when you talk about the new earth?
Okay. So I've been shown that in 2012, there was this beautiful new timeline that was opened. And when I speak about timelines, it's a cool idea because apparently we have a lot of timelines going on. And I think the best way to visualize that would be, let's think about the TV station that's showing all the channels, but all the channels are playing the same show. And let's say every show that's playing is this interview right now. But if we were to click on one, there would be some subtle differences. Maybe the 3 of us, we chose a different gender. Maybe let's click on another one. Maybe we are talking about New Earth is already here. So maybe in another one, the 3 of us are not mamas, chose something different. So in every version, let's call that the parallel or the multiverse. A new timeline was opened when one of us made a major choice. The alternate choice created a timeline. Happens for all of us. Now, if we go back, I don't know when, those timelines were so separate that there was so much gooiness between. We wouldn't have been able to put them on a TV screen like that because they weren't close enough. But now they are so close. They are hitting each other or even coming into each other, which is why when you dream at night, you're going into one and then the other and then the other and the other. And sometimes you're going into past lifetimes, different costume, but sometimes you're just going into other versions. And you're also doing this when you're awake. and there's a way to combine them. That's another conversation. But these are parallels. In 2012, see, our universe also functions like a being, has a consciousness, because we love the universe so much. So the universe also has parallels, just like we do. The universe created a new timeline in 2012. 2012, that timeline that was created was one of absolute love and peace. We can call that New Earth. That happened because there are so many people that are asking for it that collectively said, someday it's going to be better. Someday I'm going to eat better. Someday. And it was not so much as someday, but they were starting to pull it into, I'm ready now. And the universe always answers back with what we want. The universe doesn't understand time. So there were enough people that changed it from someday to I'm ready now. That timeline went, opened up. So since 2012, people have been jumping on that timeline and jumping back off, jumping back on and jumping back off. Sometimes they knew it, sometimes they don't. But when you jump on that New Earth timeline, it's when you have moments of absolute love for yourself, for other people, absolute moments of peace. Your reality shifts a little bit. You are actually experiencing the 5D or the New Earth. You're going to that timeline. When you have moments of judgment or anything low vibrational frequency, you're going to a different timeline, probably this one. I don't know. But that timeline was created, and we call that the New Earth timeline. Eventually, everyone who resonates with love, forgiveness, peace will be on that timeline. And that timeline has some characteristics to it. Everyone who's on there at some point, I don't know how many generations this will take, but we won't even have bodies. We call it the crystalline body because you won't really actually need food. That's a wonky, wild idea, but it's true because you resonate so frequently, so high or fast that even food would weigh you down. So actually what the new timeline is, you're going back to pure spirit. This is a pure spirit timeline. That timeline is not a reward. It's just the way we're moving. We're elevating to that. We're enlightening to that. But you could call it heaven on earth. The other timelines are not punishments. They're just what we're experiencing. It's just where we are. Every person has a chance till the end of time. There is no end of time, but infinity to jump on that New Earth timeline. And so we're seeing a lot of people who are deciding to pass away because it won't happen for them now. And so they are choosing to go to the other side, go through their life review, go through healing and growth, and either reincarnate and work for that timeline or go on the timeline from the other side. The background people we talked about, they're really important because they're helping us establish what we don't want, complacency, sometimes negativity, so that we can see what's possible for us, the new timeline. That's New Earth.
I'm ready for that. But
Wow.
yeah, that's a lot.
You have moments of it. You've been on the timeline. You have moments of it for sure. And those moments will start to expand till you have an hour of it. Then you have a day of it. It's not a location. The earth isn't splitting, nothing like that. It's a different reality. It's real. And it's like you shift into it. It's ready for you. We'll leave the light on for you whenever you need.
It makes me think of those moments when you may be in community with people and things just go so quickly in the sense that like you lose track of time because you're so in alignment and you're in such joy and you look up and you're like, wait a second, it's been like 5 hours.
Yes. And then if you could go back to your car and maintain that, go get yourself a smoothie or a nice coffee and stay in that realm of love for as long as you can, you're still in it.
Then the longer you're in it, does your actual timeline change?
Yes. All of your timelines on that TV station start to start to join the New Earth timeline. Because at some point you won't have all those timelines. You'll just have one. That's what's different about being alive right now. Mm-hmm. All of your timelines are colluding into one, and we'll be moving into the New Earth timeline. That's your purpose.
And we are in turn also impacting others in a way because of our frequency.
Yes. You go out like sound waves. What you experience affects other people all the time.
Like you are important in that sense.
Yes.
And because we're talking about frequency, and that we are like sound waves, as you said. What can we do to raise that frequency?
You can pay attention to how you talk to yourself, catch when you are being judgmental. You can be real with yourself, but still be kind. You can pay attention to what you're putting in your body, keep things colorful, fresh, truly organic. If you're eating meat, that's fine, but have an agreement with that animal. Thank it for its life before you put it into your body. You're really serious about keeping the vibrational frequency high of food. I've seen some videos where people have even played a singing bowl or a bell or a song before they've eaten, and it's raised the frequency of the salad. And on the video, they say that it tastes better. I wouldn't doubt that a bit. You can rest without guilt. You can say to yourself when you're meditating or taking a nap, this is the thing I'm doing on purpose, instead of I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Give yourself a chance to rest, because when you rest, you're connecting with your spirit. Get outside, connect with nature. If the weather's not great, sit by the window. Listen to music that inspires you and put it in your headphones, or play it loud and dance. Get your body moving. Get that life force energy from being dormant to moving. And don't watch the news too much.
I think that's really important. There's so much fear, the frequency of fear coming out of that.
Yes. And with that said, don't read people's comments too much on social media, because you just don't need to. People are struggling with their kindness right now, so you don't have to go down that road.
I did want to ask about, in the parallel realities, does it serve us at all to want to somehow understand what is going on in these parallel lives? And then is that possible?
Yes and yes. If there's something in this version of you that you currently desire or want to heal or want to create, amplify, you can bet that it's already happening in another timeline.
Wow.
And you're feeling it because it's resonating so powerfully somewhere else. And it belongs to you. It's already yours. It's in your timeline. And you can copy that, let's call it data. You can copy that data from that timeline and paste it into this timeline. It's yours. It will not affect that timeline. That timeline will keep going. It can affect this timeline beautifully. So the process to do that is quite lovely. Would you like to hear it?
Yes, please.
This is one of my favorite things to do. The angels call this breathing it in like fresh baking bread. So you find a smell that you love. They're offering fresh baking bread, but it could be a candle, it could be incense, it could be your favorite perfume, whatever works for you, but you've picked that first. You also get to decide what is the thing that you're copying and pasting. Then you go down the manifesting road. Imagine that thing with as much detail as you can. The cool thing is you're not really imagining it. You're channeling what's in that timeline. So trust yourself. This is you leaning on your intuition. Then pay attention to what you're feeling. If you need help with this feeling, think of a time in your life where you have felt something similar and pull it back in. So your emotions, your cells, your brain know exactly what to feel when you're imagining this. You're going to create a dress rehearsal. So you're thinking and feeling about this thing that you want to copy from the timeline and paste. So run through it, practice it a couple of times in detail. Imagine yourself there. What are you wearing? What's it smell like? Is there something under your feet? What's the weather? As much detail as you can. How does it feel? How do you feel? When you're ready, you're going to get that scent going. Fill your space with the scent. Then you are going to inhale that scent as you think about everything you did in the dress rehearsal, all the detail with the feeling. You breathe it in. That's when you copy from the timeline. That's your copy moment. When you exhale, you are pasting it into this timeline. Then it's done. You've done it. After that, your human self is going to say, did that work? Did I do that? All you do is say, yes, I've done that. You don't want to keep repeating it. You don't want a bunch of copies. This is when faith comes in and you say, no, I've done that, copied and pasted, it's done. What you get to do next is reasonable action items to support that. Okay. But you've already done the bulk of the work, copy and paste it. It's done. You could even do some action to remind yourself, I'm done. I did that. And then allow your angels to show you what are the next steps. And you will know the next steps as well. Collaborate with spirit, collaborate with people around you to enhance that copy and paste that you did. Breathe it in like fresh baked bread.
Wow, I'm doing that today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't wait to do it.
I'm doing that today.
I have one other question just along those lines. When you're talking about the timelines, I'm always picturing my life review. It's one of the things I'm always playing my tape of what I'm doing so I can almost pre-review it. So I'm not regretting it once I get over to the other side. But if we have all of these timelines, Rachel, which one are we really evaluating when we do our life review?
Let's say your angels are great editors. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, good. 'Cause
And
that's too much work.
yeah, and you have one timeline that is considered your core lifetime.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I love that question.
That's a great question.
We've discussed so much today and we've learned so much. As we come to a close, what is one message that Spirit feels the world needs to know right now?
Great question. Let me rest on that for a moment. I hear them say, and they're saying this with great hope, things are not what they seem. Give yourselves a chance to look deeper, but that looking deeper isn't outside of us, it's inside of us. And we get to trust what we know. And they are encouraging us to seek out people that it's a blend of people that support us, support our heart, not our views necessarily, but support our heart, so that when we are looking within, we have people saying, I love you, I trust you. They're not saying surround yourself with the same viewpoint. They're saying surround yourself with people who appreciate you and respect you as they're saying strong, sovereign being. And it could just be one person. And if you don't have that, pull up your mirror, be that for yourself. And this is not a political message. That was Mother Mary. She's got like a messy bun and just like, this is not a political message. It cracks me up. That's their encouragement that things in the world are not as they seem. Look deeper, and that deeper is within. And then also spend some time with your eyes closed. Look behind your eyelids. See the magic that lives behind there, because that's your connector, your literal connector between here and the quantum. Put your eye mask on, put some music on that delights you, and watch the light show.
Wow. This has been such a soul fulfilling episode. And we are just so grateful to have you now as part of the Seeking Center community, which we know we were divinely led to each other, no doubt. And I know Karen will speak for herself. My time with you and the session that I had with you has been transformative. And I think your frequency and all of the messages that you were able to deliver today have such beautiful light. And they're just meeting me exactly at the right time in my timeline right now. And I have a feeling they are for others.
This is going to be a podcast I definitely go back to and listen to again. It's the resonance and the wisdom that you evoke, Rachel. And we know that you're just bringing forth the information and the love that we all need to hear. And the reminder, this is all a wonderful journey. We don't have to take it all so seriously, and that we have opportunity to change where we are at every moment. We were given that power. And I love that exercise that you gave us, because sometimes I think we don't feel like we are empowered. It's such a good reminder that we are, and that we're all in this together, that we have this incredible team on the other side that is there helping us through it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
And for people that want to work with you or listen to you, what is the best place to do that, Rachel?
I'm really passionate about my podcast. It is called Angel Talk, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. And then my website is rachelcorpus.com.
Yes. And that is Rachel, Rachel, and then Corpus, Corpus.com.
Thank you.
Thank you for bridging those worlds, because that's what makes this so accessible and why we're so grateful to now be working together.
I am too. I'm excited for what's to come.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.